Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Friday, July 14th, 2023. Today I'm going to recap the NBA Summer League games from yesterday, look ahead to today's and the weekend's games. Then we'll look at the soccer slate for the weekend and recap yesterday's soccer games. And then we'll go over the Major League Baseball slate for tonight and the weekend. The WNBA All-Star Game, we'll preview and pick that. We'll do Wimbledon, golf, NASCAR, MLB power ranking and second half predictions for the season, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start with the Summer League. We will go over the results from yesterday, look ahead to the weekend. Cavs over the Bulls, 87-83. Hawks over the Sixers, 99-98. Nets over the Raptors, 99-94 in overtime. Heat over the Bucks, 91-72. Rockets over the Warriors, 118-101. So best bet won. Pelicans over the Hornets, 89-83. Blazers over the Magic, 88-71. And the Kings over the T-Wolves, 93-80. All right, today, 4:30 on NBA TV, you have the Thunder and the Wizards from Cox. Oklahoma City is favored in this matchup by 4.5. Total is 184.5. I'll lay the points with OKC. 5 o'clock on ESPN2, you have the Clippers at the Sixers from Thomas and Mack. The Clippers are giving 1.5, totals 184.5. That's a hard one. We'll go with the under. 6:30 NBA TV from Cox, Celtics, Knicks. Boston's giving 1.5, totals 182.5. That's another hard one. I'll take the under. 7 o'clock ESPN from Thomas and Mack. Mavs, Pacers. The Pacers are giving 2.5, totals 180.5. I'll lay the points with Indiana. 8:30 NBA TV from Cox, Heat, Nuggets. The Heat are giving 4.5, totals 180, which is 178.5. It's funny, the NBA Finals rematch kind of in the Summer League. That's a hard one, but I like the over. 9 o'clock ESPN from Thomas and Mack, Spurs, Pistons. Detroit's giving 2.5, totals 183.5. No more Wemby for the Spurs, unfortunately. I'm going to lay the 2.5 with Detroit. 10:30 NBA TV of the Jazz and the Suns from Cox. The Jazz are giving 5.5, totals 181.5. I'll lay the points with the Jazz. And 11 o'clock on ESPN from Thomas and Mack, you have the Grizzlies and the Lakers. The Lakers are giving 2.5, totals 183.5. I'll take the Grizzlies getting the points. And they are plus 118 to win the game outright. All right, consolation games on Saturday. 2:30 NBA TV from Thomas and Mack. Hornets, T-Wolves. 3 o'clock ESPN from Cox. Warriors, Raptors. 4:30 NBA TV from Thomas and Mack. Bucks, Kings. 5 o'clock ESPN from Cox. Wizards, Bulls. 6:30 NBA TV from Thomas and Mack. Celtics, Magic. 8:30 NBA TV from Thomas and Mack. Nuggets, Knicks. And then 10:30 NBA TV from Thomas and Mack. Grizzlies, Suns. Sunday. 3:30 NBA TV is a consolation game from Cox. 4:30 ESPN semifinal from Thomas and Mack. 5:30 NBA TV consolation game from Cox. 6 o'clock on either ESPN or ESPN2. Semifinal from Thomas and Mack. 7:30 NBA TV consolation game from Cox. 8 o'clock on ESPN or ESPN2 from Thomas and Mack. 9:30 NBA TV consolation game from Cox. And 10 o'clock on ESPN or ESPN2 consolation game from Thomas and Mack. And the Summer League Final will be on Monday, which we'll know by the time we do Monday's podcast. Right now, move on to soccer. We'll go over the notable soccer results from yesterday, and then we'll look ahead to the weekend. All right, we'll start with the qualifying for Europa Conference League. We have a lot of them, so bear with me. Tobol Kasane over FC Honka 2-1. Ararat, Armenia, and Ignatia 1-1 draw. Entered the Escladas over Viking Yergoda 2-1. Pionik over JK Narva Trans 2-0. Rigas over FK Macedonia 1-0. MSK Zelina over FC Levadia 2-1. Crusaders and FC Haka 2-2 draw. Magpies and Dundalk 0-0 draw. Penevzes and FC Milzami 2-2 draw. Oxford FC over Arsenal Tivan, that's a 1-1 draw. Ducagini over Europa FC 2-1. Gazira United and Glentoran 2-2 draw. Shikupi over Hegelman 5-0. Balzan FC over NK Damzali 4-1. Riga FC over Vikinger Reykjavik 2-0. Torpedo Kutasi and FK Sarajevo 2-2 draw. Dinajska Stata over Diligori 2-1. Pennyboyd FC and Santa Coloma 1-1 draw. Projes Niederkorn and Gijlani 2-2 draw. I forgot where I left off. Niemann Grando over FC Vaduz 2-1. HB Torchvan and Derry City 0-0 draw. KA Akrari over Kanas Kwe 2-0. KF Shekadia over Haverford West 1-0. SK Tirana and Dynamo Batumi 1-1 draw. FK Sujeska over Cosmos 1-0. Solzhenitsyn and Dynamo 2-2 draw. Fiorina and Zimbru 1-1 draw. Linfield over Vilzania 3-1. NK Maribor and Birkirkara 1-1 draw. UEFA Under-19. Portugal over Norway 5-0. Italy over Spain 3-2. Women's international friendly, Spain over Vietnam 9-0. All right, so we have a lot. 3 o'clock a.m. New Zealand and Italy got underway. 5:30. We have Australia and France. 6 o'clock Japan, Panama. 2 p.m. Iceland, Finland. Scotland, Ireland at 2:30. 7:30 Argentina, Peru, and 10 o'clock Costa Rica and South Africa. I'm going to check what games real quickly they have up here. All right, Australia, France is on the board to bet. I'm going to go with France at even money. Colombia, Republic of Ireland's up there too. I'm going to go Colombia plus 150. Japan, Panama. Japan's minus 3,500. Panama is 65-1. The draw is 14-1. We're going to go under 3.5 goals plus 136. Iceland, Finland. Iceland's minus 120. Finland's 270. Draws 260. I like over 2.5 goals at minus 116. Scotland's minus 950. Northern Ireland's 15-1. The draw 7-1. Under 2.5 goals at plus 116. 7:30 Argentina, Peru. Argentina's minus 3,000. Peru's 47-1. The draw is 13-1. We're going to go under 3.5 goals at minus 108. And then Costa Rica, South Africa. That game is not posted. And then Sunday at 10 p.m. is Colombia, China. Club friendlies. Nuremberg and Arsenal 1-1 draw. All right, today's 11 o'clock. You have Leifering and Bayern. That game's not up. 1:30 at Vienna and Galatasaray. Don't see any of these games posted. 1:55 San Fernando and Sevilla, and 3:30 of Al Nasser and SC Varennes. All right, Saturday's loaded. 4:30 a.m. FC Salzburg, Hamburg. 5:30 a.m. FC Salzburg and Slovakia. 5:55. Ian Wig and Betis. 6 o'clock. Perth Glory, West Ham. 7 o'clock. Neftchi and Fenerbahce. 8 o'clock. Feyenoord Union SG. 9 o'clock. Besiktas Augsburg. Crystal Palace Brøndby. 10 o'clock. Northampton Leicester. 11 o'clock. FC Plough Weeblands and PSV. 11:30. Vahervar and Trabzonspor. And then 11:55 St. Gallen and Villarreal. Sunday 5:30 a.m. Celje and Trabzonspor. And then Monday at 8 a.m. Celta Vigo and Al Nasser. Liga MX from yesterday. Santos Atlas 0-0 draw and Guadalajara and Necaxa 2-0. All right, 2 tonight, 9 o'clock, Mazatlan and Monterrey. Monterrey's minus 145, Mazatlan's plus 340. The draw is 3-1. I'm going to go under 2.5 goals at even money. And 11 o'clock, Tijuana and Cruz Azul. Tijuana plus 130, Cruz Azul plus 190, draw plus 250. I'm going to go with the draw plus 250. Saturday, 7 o'clock, Athletic San Luis and Querétaro. 9 o'clock, America, Puebla. 11 o'clock, Tigres León. Sunday, 2 o'clock, Toluca, Juarez, and 10:15, Pachuca and UNAM. And then this league takes a hiatus for a month and resumes on Friday, August 18th. All right, MLS coming up this weekend. 7:30 of Atlanta, Orlando. CF Montreal, Charlotte. Cincinnati, Nashville, New England, DC United, Philly, NYCFC, 8:30, Chicago, Toronto, Minnesota, LAFC, St. Louis, Miami, 9:30, Austin, KC, Colorado, Houston, Salt Lake Red Bulls, 10:30, Portland, Columbus, Seattle, Dallas, and Vancouver and the Galaxy. And that's the last slate before the All-Star break in MLS. All right, and the last game to go over in soccer, Sunday night, 7:30, Mexico, Panama for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Mexico is a pretty big favorite at minus 185. Panama's 5-1. The draw's plus 250. Panama really has been on a magical run so far in this Gold Cup. For this game, I'm going to go over 2.5 goals at plus 120. And I think Mexico will win by a score of 2-1. That's my guess for this. Now I'm going to preview and predict some baseball for tonight as the league resumes from the All-Star break at 6 o'clock. You have the Padres and the Phillies, Yu Darvish and Christopher Sanchez. The Padres are minus 116, the Phillies are minus 102, over under 9.5, overs minus 102, and there's minus 120. Padres minus 1.5 is plus 142, Phillies plus 1.5 is minus 172. Wrong team's favorite here. Give me Philadelphia at minus 102. 7 o'clock, you have the Marlins at the O's. Sandy Alcantara and Dean Kremer. So a really decent matchup here. O's are minus 122. The Marlins are plus 104. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Marlins plus 1.5 is minus 200. O's minus 1.5 is plus 164. I'm going full game over. Alcantara has been disappointing this year, and Kremer has a good record. A lot of run support, but not really that good. Apple TV Plus, you have the Giants at the Pirates. Ross Stripling and Rich Hill. Giants minus 120, Pirates plus 102, over under 9, minus 110 each way. Giants minus 1.5 is plus 136, Pirates plus 1.5 is minus 164. Full game over in this one as well. D-backs, Blue Jays. So this is a good one. Ryan Nelson, we don't know, is gone for Toronto. So the odds are not up yet. Dodgers Mets on Apple TV Plus. That's an interesting series. By the way, D-backs, Jays, I'll consider the Diamondbacks if they're a dog, which they probably are going to be. So remember that for when the odds come out. Maybe by the time the podcast is posted. Julio Urias and Justin Verlander. Dodgers minus 126, Mets plus 104, over under 8.5, overs minus 120, unders minus 102. Dodgers minus 1.5 is plus 126, Mets plus 1.5 is minus 152. So neither of these guys have pitched up to their capabilities this year. For this one, I'm going to go over 4.5 runs for the Dodgers at minus 108. Brewers Reds, Corbin Burns and Graham Ashcraft, huge game. Brewers minus 120, Reds plus 102, over under 10, minus 110 each way. Milwaukee minus 1.5 is plus 120, Reds plus 1.5 is minus 154. I'm going full game over, but I would parlay that with the Reds money line too. ESPN plus 720, White Sox Braves, Michael Kopech and Charlie Morton. This matchup would have been more fun 2 seasons ago. Braves are minus 255, the White Sox are plus 220, over under 9.5, overs even money, unders minus 122. White Sox plus 1.5 is plus 116. Braves minus 1.5 is minus 140. Charlie Morton's actually been pretty decent this year for Atlanta. Michael Kopech's been disappointing for Chicago. And they're going to juice up the Braves lines and all that jazz in the second half of the year. I'm going to go over 5.5 Braves runs, minus 111. Red Sox Cubs at 8. Brayan Bello and Kyle Hendricks. Boston minus 120, Chicago plus 102, over under 9.5, overs minus 102, unders minus 120. Boston minus 1.5 is plus 125, Cubs plus 1.5 is minus 150. Kyle Hendricks trade candidate, probably. And Bello actually hasn't been terrible either in Boston's rotation. So I'm actually going to take the Cubs to win outright at plus 102. This one because I want an underdog pick. Guardians Rangers. Maybe ALDS. Maybe. Aaron Savali, John Gray. Rangers minus 156. Guardians plus 132. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Guardians plus 1.5 is minus 160. Rangers minus 1.5 is plus 130. For this one, going full game under, both of these pitchers have been pretty good this year. Rays Royals, Tyler Glasnow and Alec Marsh. Rays minus 295, Royals plus 240, over under 9.5. Overs even money, unders minus 122. Rays minus 1.5 is minus 162. Royals plus 1.5 is plus 134. I'm going full game over. Nats Cardinals at 8:15. TBD and Miles Mikolas. Maybe Mikolas is on a different team. Come after the trade deadline. 8:30. You have the Yankees at the Rockies. Carlos Rodon and Austin Gomber. Yanks minus 210. Rockies plus 176. Over under 12. That's a high number. Overs plus 106. Unders minus 130. Yankees minus 1.5 is minus 146. Rockies plus 1.5 is plus 122. My favorite pick on the board so far. Under 6.5 Yankees runs at minus 104. Has anyone seen the Yankee offense without Aaron Judge? I understand the Rockies pitching is horrendous. And that's probably why they juice it up. But that's my favorite one so far. So that might be a best bet possibility. Unless the line moves. 9:30, Astros Angels. JP France and Shohei Ohtani. So Ohtani doesn't pitch in the All-Star game, but he's pitching tomorrow night. Or tonight, I should say. Angels minus 156. Astros plus 132. Over under 8. Minus 110 each way. Astros plus 1.5 is minus 152. Angels minus 1.5 is plus 128. I like full game under, but full game under is the pick I'll give out. But if you want to get greedy, full game under in the Astros is a lot of fun. Twins A's, Kenta Maeda and TBD. So, if the total is anything less than 10, hammer the over. And then Tigers Mariners at 10, Eduardo Rodriguez and Luis Castillo. Really good pitching matchup. Mariners minus 198, Tigers plus 166, over under 7, overs minus 112, unders minus 108. Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 40, Mariners minus 1.5 is plus 116. I love the under in that one. Absolutely love it. All right, Saturday, 1 o'clock, doubleheader game 1, Padres Phillies. So that's weird that that's a doubleheader. Is that like scheduled doubleheader? Is one a makeup game? That's very weird. Blake Snell and Taijuan Walker. 2:20 Red Sox Cubs, James Paxton, Marcus Stroman. 3 o'clock D-backs Jays, Zach Gallen TBD. Guardians Rangers at 4 on Fox Sports 1, Gavin Williams and Andrew Heaney. 7 o'clock Mariners Osos. A lot of Saturday night games. Braxton Garrett and Kyle Gibson, doubleheader game 2, Padres Phillies. TBD and Rangers Suarez. But I don't get why I guess that was scheduled like that. That's really weird. Giants Pirates, Alex Cobb, Johan Oviedo. Twins A's, Pablo Lopez TBD. Brewers Reds, Freddie Peralta, Andrew Abbott. Got a ton of pressure on the Reds this weekend. Rays Royals, Shane McClanahan, Jordan Lyles. All right, 7:15 on Fox, White Sox Braves, Lance Lynn, Spencer Strider, and of course Dodgers Mets, TBD and Kodai Senga. Nats Cardinals. I wonder if that was supposed to be on Fox and they removed it because of how bad these teams are. TBD and Steven Matz. 9 o'clock Astros Angels, Framber Valdez, Reed Detmers, and 9:30 Tigers Mariners, Michael Lorenzen and George Kirby. Oh, we missed one. Yankees Rockies at 8 o'clock. Clark Schmidt and Connor Seabold. All right, Sunday, 12 o'clock on Peacock, Giants Pirates, TBD and Osvaldo Bido. 1:30 White Sox Braves, Dylan Cease and Colby Allard. Marlins O's, TBD Kyle Bradish. Padres Phillies, Seth Lugo and Zach Wheeler. D-backs Jays, Tommy Henry and TBD. Dodgers Mets, TBD and Max Scherzer. So actually, that game is not on Sunday Night Baseball. How about that? Neither is Padres Phillies. Brewers Reds, Adrian Hauser, Ben Lively. 2 o'clock Rays Royals, TBD Brady Singer. Nats Cards at 2:15, TBD and Jack Flaherty. 2:20 Red Sox Cubs. Cutter Crawford, Justin Fields. Surprising that's not on Sunday Night Baseball either, considering the favoritism those two franchises always get. 2:30 Guardians Rangers. Tanner Bebe, Martin Perez. 3 o'clock you have the Yankees at the Rockies. Garrett Cole and Chase Anderson. Tigers Mariners. Reese Olson and TBD for Seattle at 4 o'clock. Also, Twins A's. Joe Ryan and TBD. And it's Sunday Night Baseball, believe it or not, 7 o'clock at ESPN. Astros Angels. So the Angels getting the Sunday night home game. This was probably scheduled before the Angels went on the 5-game losing streak. So I get it. Maybe they win a couple of games this weekend against Houston, and maybe they're over 500 when this game's played. It's going to be Christian Javier and Tyler Anderson. They're also banking on Shohei Ohtani potentially pitching in that game as well. So I see why they had done that. All right, the WNBA All-Star Game. Saturday in primetime, 8:30 ABC. Ryan Rucco, Rebecca Lobo on the call. Should be a lot of fun. So before I go over the betting lines and stuff for this, I'm going to go over the rosters again. So Team Wilson. Your starters: Aja Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, Aaliyah Boston, and Enrique Agumbali. Off the bench: Kelsey Plum, Alicia Gray, Alyssa Thomas, Cheyenne Parker, Dewana Bonner, and Elena Deladon. Team Stewart: Brianna Stewart, Brittany Griner, Jewel Lloyd, Satu Sabali, Nneka Gumake. And in reserves: Courtney Vandersloot, Sabrina Ionescu, Izai Magbagor, Nafisa Collier, Kelsey Mitchell, and Kalia Cooper. Pretty much even in my opinion. These are all wonderful players and women, obviously. But Team Wilson, I think, is very overvalued, and I think the Liberty trio on Team Stewart, along with Brittany Griner, which is her first All-Star game in a while. You know she's going to have a chip on her shoulder. Jewel Lloyd, Vandersloot, and Ionescu, obviously. Agumake, Collier. It's just loaded. I know both teams are loaded. The other team has a lot of star power too, and the Aces, those 4 players on the Aces: Wilson, Gray, Young, and the Plum, and then Deladon obviously is on Team Wilson, which is great. So it's Becky Hammond for Team Wilson, obviously, and then Stephanie White will be coaching Team Stewart. I'm going to take Team Stewart plus 4.5. I'm actually willing to take it at plus 172 to win outright, too. And I'm going to say the All-Star Game MVP will be none other than Miss Brianna Stewart of the New York Liberty. So we're going to go Team Stewart plus 4.5 and plus 172 to win the game outright as a underdog here. All right, now we'll move on to the Wimbledon. We will go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to the semifinals and finals over the weekend. So women's singles today. Semifinals: 6-seed Ons Jabeur for 2-seed Arina Sabalenka in 3 sets. That was a big upset. And Marketa Vondrousova over Elena Svitolina in 2 sets. And then with the men's, so 8:30 you have 8-seed Jannik Sinner and 2-seed Novak Djokovic. Tremendous matchup. Djokovic is minus 530. Sinner is plus 390. I think this is going to be a better match than people think. I am going to say that it's going to be Djokovic 3-1 at plus 250. And then you have 1 seed Carlos Alcaraz and 3 seed Daniil Medvedev. Alcaraz is minus 255. Medvedev is plus 205. Alcaraz has been on a nice run here. I think this will be close. And I'm going to go Alcaraz 3-2 at 4-1. So your final will be 2 seed Novak Djokovic and 1 seed Carlos Alcaraz. And I'm going to say Djokovic in 5 sets over Carlos Alcaraz Garcia to win the men's Grand Slam there. And then the final on Saturday, 16 on Jabeur and Marketa Vondrousova. It's going to be something else. Jabeur's minus 210. Vondrousova's plus 172. Vondrousova, magical run. But I think Jabeur is superior to Vondrousova. I think Vondrousova will keep it competitive. So I'm going to say on Jabeur 2-1 at plus 250 to win the Grand Slam on the side. Now I'm going to go over the leaderboard for the Scottish Open. Then we'll do the leaderboard for the Barbasol. All right, your leader right now in the Scottish Open with a score of 9 under is Ben Ganon. Tied for second with 7 under is Max Homa and Padraig Harrington. Tied for fourth with 6 under, Rory McIlroy, Tomas Dietrich, and Yannick Paul. Tied for 7th with 5 under, Kyung Goulet, Scotty Scheffler, Ricky Fowler, Davis Riley, and Tom Kim. Tied for 12th at 4 under, Will Gordon, Ewan Ferguson, David Ligmerth, Oliver Becker, Sammy Valimaki, and Julian Brunn. Tied for 18th with 3 under. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to do notables. Grayson Higa, Rory McIntyre, Sam Burns, Thurston Lawrence, Eric Cole, Lucas Hodges, Tyrell Hatton, Ryan Fox, Taylor Hogue. Tied for 37th with 2 under, Matt Fitzpatrick, Justin Thomas, Min Lee, Nate Taylor, Dylan Wu, Keith Mitchell, Harry Hall, Luke List, Shane Lowry, Christian Ziedenhout, Ben Griffin. Tied for 57th with 1 under, JT Potson, Rafa Cabrera-Bello, Austin Eckroat, Wyndham Clark, Evan Van Rooyen, Kurt Katayama, Gary Woodland, Nicholas Hojard. Tied for 80th at even, Xander Schauffele, Lucas Donald, Adam Putnam, Tommy Fleetwood, Sun J.M., Taylor Montgomery, Ben Martin, Adam Scott, Victor Hovland, Victor Perez, Justin Rose, Brett Horschel, Joseph Brumlett, Sam Ryder, Matt Wallace. Tied for 103rd with 1 over, Ludwig Aberg, Lucas Herbert, Aaron Ray, Francesco Molinari, Cam Davis, C. Thiglia, Alex Smalley, Ben Taylor, Scott Stallings, Patrick Rogers, Corey Connors, Mackenzie Hughes. Tied for 124th with 2 over, Alex Baddeley, Harrison Endicott, Patrick Cantlay, Jordan Spieth, Callum Tarrant, Trey Merritt, Doug Gim, Zach Blair. Tied for 136 with 3 over, Robbie Shelton. Tied for 146 with 4 over, Jimmy Walker. Tied for 153rd with 6 over, Danny Willett. Dylan Fratelli 155th with 8 over, and Seamus Power with Drew. Barbasol, your leader right now with a score of 9 under is Lucas Glover. Tied for second with 8 under, Ryan Moore and Ryan Armour. Tied for fourth with 7 under, Andrew Novak, Wesley Bryan, Cody Gribble, and Daniel Brown. Now we have to do notables because of time. Tied for 8th with 6 under, Adam Long, Bo Van Pelt, Victor Norman. Tied for 15th with 5 under, Peter Malnati, Sean O'Hare, Patton Kazir, Chad Ramey. Tied for 24th with 4 under, Jason Duffner, Harry Higgs, Estelanto Goya, Russell Knox, Kramer Hickok, Michael Glidgick. Tied for 38th with 3 under, Andrew Landry, Scott Brown, DJ Trampo, Hogg, Chris Stroud, Doc Redman, Paul Haley, Taylor Pendrith, William McGirt, Henrik Norlander, Matthias Schwab. Tied for 59th with 2 under Bryce Garnett, Richie Wierenski, Grayson Murray, Kevin Strillman, Grayson Chambers, Max McGreevy, Ryan Gerard, MJ Daffé, Cam Piercy, Scott Piercy, Matt Trainer, Tanner Gainey, Tyson Alexander, Trevor Werblow, Scott Harrington, D8 points is tied for 82nd with 1 under. It was Jonas Blix, Austin Cook, Kevin Toy, Hank Lebioda, Ricky Barnes, Trevor Cohn, Kelly Craft. Tied for 99th at even, Tyler Duncan, James Hahn, Robert Brem, Justin Lauer, Sangmu Bay, Kevin Roy. Tied for 116th with 1 over, Nate Watney, Brian Stewart. Tied for 127th with 2 over, Robert Streb. And Austin Smothers, David Ernst, Kevin Stradler. Tied for 136th with 3 over, Sodi Carrera, Vincent Whaley, Kyle Stanley, Scott Stallings, Ben Crane, Kyle Westmoreland. Tied for 142nd with 4 over, 146 with 5 over. Nobody of significance. And withdrawing Sang You'll Know. All right, now we'll move on to NASCAR. We will preview and predict the races for this weekend. So trucks are off. We won't see them until next weekend for Pocono. So and Better Health 200 tomorrow on USA from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Should be an interesting race. I'm just going to pull up DraftKings real quick for the odds. For this race, I'm going to go a 1/5 of a unit on Chandler Smith at 11-1 to win the And Better Health 200. And for the Cup Series, the Crayon 301 from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, Sunday 2:30 on USA. There's a couple of drivers that stand out to me. This driver's 14-1. I'm going to lay a 1/5 of a unit on it, and that is Joey Logano. I'm taking Joey Logano at 14-1, a 1/5 of a unit to win the Crayon 301 from New Hampshire. Now is a segment that you guys would absolutely love with the second half of the baseball season getting underway today. So I'm going to do power rankings as we head into the second half of the season, along with a bold prediction for the second half of the season for each team. This is the most excited I've been to do a segment in a while in terms of fun ones. So here we go. Number 30 is the Oakland Athletics. My bold prediction for them is that they will not get to 55 wins. I think saying 50 would have been a little bit outrageous, but I think 55 is the right number. They won't get there. They're playing the Astros and the Rangers a lot. They're going to be playing a lot of other teams a lot that are going to try harder. You know, the Mariners are going to try in the second half of the year. You're going to be playing some teams in the National League that are going to be trying in the second half of the year. And maybe some of these bad teams that want to go out on a good note, but I'll tell you what, the Athletics are not going to be one of them. So, I'm going to say they do not get to 55 wins. I was almost going to say 50. I think that would have been a little too aggressive. Number 29, the Kansas City Royals. We got a juicy one right out the gate. The Royals will trade Salvador Perez to the Houston Astros for catcher Corey Lee, infielder Will Wagner, righty Forrest Whitley, and righty Jose Fleury. The case for it, Houston's catching position has been terrible this year. Corey Lee's unproven, although he had a cup of coffee in the big leagues last year. And he's been pretty good in AAA this year, but part of me wonders there's a reason he's not in the big leagues right now. And I understand this worked out with Jeremy Pena last year, but why isn't Corey Lee in the big leagues right now? Why isn't he contributing with the big league team with his former minor league teammate Jeremy Pena and the rest of those guys? That's a head scratcher to me. So why not deal for Perez, who has a World Series ring and would only make that lineup better? And then Lee change of scenery. Forrest Whitley never really panned out like Houston wanted him to. And Fleury and Wagner go in the deal as well. And then Wagner, the Royals can use. And then Fleury, just a throw-in. 28, the Colorado Rockies. I have them trading away Chris Bryant, who they signed to that monster contract in free agency a year and a half ago, to the Tampa Bay Rays for infielder Oslevis, Basabe, righty Cole Wilcox, outfielder Chandler Simpson, and righty J.J. Ghost. Rockies need pitching in the worst way. The Rays have a ton of it, so they're willing to give up two former highly touted pitchers. The Rays have no space for Basabe, and Simpson's just thrown in the deal. Meanwhile, the Rays can use a upgraded right field over Manuel Margot, who to me is a fourth outfielder at best. So Chris Bryant would be an upgrade there, and Chris Bryant would mash in all those AL East ballparks like Yankee Stadium and Toronto and over the Green Monster and Fenway. He would fit on a couple of those AL East teams. He'd fit on the Yankees, and he'd be an upgrade for them in left field. But I don't know if they want to take on that money. Although I don't know if the Rays want to either. But I could see them giving it a shot because I think they're like a significant bat away from taking that next step. Next, the number 27, the Washington Nationals. I have them trading third baseman Jeimer Candelario to the Miami Marlins for infielder Xavier Edwards and righty George Soriano. So, Gene Segura has been terrible this year on the Marlins. Candelario being a huge upgrade for them at third base. Edwards was traded already a couple of times. So, I have him getting dealt again. And then Soriano is just a throw-in. So, good deal for both sides. 26, the Chicago White Sox. I have them trading Lucas Giolito to the Los Angeles Dodgers for righty Emmett Sheehan, lefty Maddox Burns, outfielder Jose Ramos, and lefty Justin Robleski. So, Giolito and the Dodgers makes a lot of sense. It just does. And I believe that this would be a really good addition for the Dodgers, and they're a team that's pitching rotation is a mess. So Giolito on a contender, I think it could be rejuvenated. And then the White Sox get Sheehan, who saw some big league time this year, two other lefties, and an outfielder in Jose Ramos. Number 25, I have the Pittsburgh Pirates. I have them trading Brian Reynolds and David Bednar together to the Texas Rangers for outfielder Evan Carter, righty Brock Porter, righty Cole Winn, shortstop third baseman Jonathan Ornelas, and lefty Antoine Kelly. Rangers go for it, big and bold. Reynolds, you just stick him in the outfield. He's an upgraded left field over Robbie Grossman. And then sometimes you have to give up something good to get something good. Evan Carter, number one prospect, goes to Pittsburgh. two really good pitchers in Porter and Wynn. They have a surplus of pitching, even with DeGrom out. Ornelas doesn't have a spot in that lineup because Seager and Jung are your left side of the infield for the next decade, and Antoine Kelly is just a lefty thrown into the deal. And Ben Nar improves your bullpen situation and is insurance too, because Aroldis Chapman tends to choke in the postseason. So I think that is a wonderful deal for the Texas Rangers, and Pittsburgh does very good in its return. Number 24, I have the St. Louis Cardinals. I have them trading Jordan Montgomery to the San Diego Padres for lefty Jay Groom, righty Isaiah Lau, and outfielder Tirso Ornelas. I think Montgomery's going to have a good couple of starts over the next several weeks up his trade value. San Diego needs pitching. Montgomery in that ballpark would be wonderful. Groom has been traded a few times already. That would be a nice asset for St. Louis to get. And then Lau and Ornelas also goes in return. Number 23, the Detroit Tigers. I have them trading starter Eduardo Rodriguez to the Cincinnati Reds for righty Chase Petty, lefty Bryce Hubbard, and second baseman Tyler Callahan. The Reds, I think, are going to go for it and go for a division crown. Chase Petty's a good get to get back. And then Callahan, I don't think that has a spot long term because of Jonathan India's there, so is Matt McLean. And then so I really don't see a spot in the Nick Senzel's there, so I can see Callahan being in that deal. Going back to Detroit. Number 22, the New York Mets. I have them acquiring Randall Grichuk from the Colorado Rockies for outfielder Standy Consuerga and righty Christian Scott. So, cheap price for Grichuk. He improves like their outfield DH situation. 21, the Chicago Cubs. I have them trading away Marcus Stroman. 2, the Baltimore Orioles for lefty D.L. Hall, third baseman Cody Mayo, righty Chase McDermott, and shortstop Carter Young. Orioles need pitching. D.L. Hall, intriguing prospect that I don't think has seen big league time. Cody Mayo is blocked on that team. Carter Young, a good young talent that's blocked on that team too. And then McDermott is another pitcher that they get in the deal. So nice package for a guy having a career year. Number 20, the San Diego Padres. My prediction for them, I have them finishing above 500 and will finish third in the division behind the D-backs and the Dodgers. So Padres over 500. I'm going to say they end up at 86 wins. I don't know if that's good enough for the postseason or not, but I think they're in for a big second half of the season. Number 19, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. This is the sexiest prediction on the board. They are 5 back of the wild card. Shohei Ohtani is going to get traded. And the teams you're hearing for them are the Dodgers and the 2 New York teams. The Padres are in the mix. There's some others. But there's a team, a big market team that nobody's talking about. And it's the team that I predicted that he was going to get traded to before the season. And that, my friends, is the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm going to do the same trade I proposed before the season and click copy and paste. And there you go. The Angels trade Shohei Ohtani to the Philadelphia Phillies for infielder Bryson Stott, righty Mick Abel, second baseman Hyung-Woo Lee, righty Andrew Baker, righty Francisco Morales, and righty Hans Kraus, and maybe David Fletcher goes in the deal to Philadelphia as well. And this would obviously put Shohei at DH, move Bryce Harper to first base, and Schwarber stays at left field. And I understand he's terrible defensively, but I think the Phillies really want to go for it. Dave Dombrowski's known to make a big splash, and I think the other candidate to be traded to the Phillies, if it's not going to be Ohtani, then it might be Paul Goldschmidt. But I'm going to say it's Ohtani. They also need help in their rotation. Their rotation has actually been pretty decent this year, but how long will Taijuan Walker last in terms of his numbers? 4.02 ERA, I get it. Ranger Suarez is just getting back. I know Christopher Sanchez has been pretty good as their fifth starter, but are we sure he's the answer? Aaron Nola's in a contract year. Do they want him long term? So Ohtani to Philadelphia makes a lot of sense, and I'm going to say that they gave him like a big contract extension in November after the season ends. So Shohei to Philadelphia. There you go, my friends. Number 18 is the Minnesota Twins. I'm going to say they end up winning the AL Central with less than 90 wins. I think that division's terrible. That division hasn't really been great in a long time. The last time that division was actually pretty good was when Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer were still on the Tigers, and the Royals were pretty good back then too. So that was the last time that division really stood out in a meaningful way. Number 17, the Cleveland Guardians. I'm going to say they trade Shane Bieber to the Arizona Diamondbacks for Brandon Pfaadt, righty Slade Ciccone, outfielder Dominic Fletcher, and lefty Nate Savino. Pfaadt we've seen several times throughout the season on the D-backs. So he has some experience. Ciccone, pretty good pitcher. Dominic Fletcher, solid outfielder. Savino throw-in. And Shane Bieber and Zach Gallen would be a great 1-2 punch in that rotation. 16, the Seattle Mariners. I say that Julio Rodriguez comes darn close to a 40-40 season. I think J-Rod's going to have a big second half of the year. And I'm going to say that he gets close to 40 home runs. And potentially puts himself in the conversation for AL MVP. 15, the Milwaukee Brewers. I have them trading Corbin Burnes to the Baltimore Orioles for outfielder Heston Kjerstad, lefty Cade Povich, righty Carter Balmer, and shortstop Miguel Hernandez. I think the Orioles are going to go for it in the biggest way possible to try to win that AL East. Kjerstad, where's his spot on the team? They have a ton of outfielders. And that's a big piece to get if you're Milwaukee. And then Burnes could be the ace of your rotation. And you get Stroman from the Cubs. And then you add those two guys to your rotation with guys that have performed well for you, like Tyler Wells and Kyle Gibson. Dean Kremer's been okay. Kyle Bradish. But, they can use upgrades over all those guys. I like their guys, but I don't love their guys. And those two would form a nice 1-2 punch for the O's in that young offense. And then Povich and Balmer, two throw-ins. And then Michael Hernandez is someone that doesn't have a spot on that team. So, Burnes on Baltimore would be a lot of fun. Number 14, the New York Yankees. I have them acquiring Cody Bellinger from the Chicago Cubs for outfielder Brando Maya, righty Matt Sauer, and righty Juan Carrella. I almost had them acquiring a different outfielder, but I thought about it, and I could totally see it being Bellinger. This is reminiscent of Andrew Benintendi from last year, and how they were linked to him, and then they ended up getting him. And obviously Bellinger's been in a ton of big games. He's having a resurgent year on the Cubs. And he would fit very nicely with the Yankees in left field. He's a good defensive player and takes advantage from in Yankee Stadium a lot, especially in the short porch and right. So he's just a great fit with the Yankees. I would love to see Bellinger in pinstripes if they don't get Ohtani, which I don't think they're getting Ohtani, obviously. 13, the San Francisco Giants. I have them acquiring reliever Joe Kelly from the Chicago White Sox for righty Will Bednar and righty Jose Cruz. So two righties in their system for Kelly, who has been in a lot of pennant races in the past, and I think that him on a decent team could be rejuvenated. Number 12, the Philadelphia Phillies. I have them finishing within 5 games of the Braves in the division. I think they get Ohtani or Paul Goldschmidt, but I'm going to say it's Ohtani for the reasons I laid out. They move Bryce to first base. Rhys Hoskins, free agent, let him go. And then Aaron Nola, free agent, and that's insurance, getting Ohtani. So, and maybe Christopher Sanchez is in the trade. You know what? I'm going to throw Christopher Sanchez in that trade for Ohtani. I'm going to say that he's in the trade with all those guys. And I think David Fletcher's in the deal to go to Philadelphia as well. So, your final trade, Shohei Ohtani and David Fletcher to Philadelphia for Bryson Stott, Mick Gable, Hayu Uli, Andrew Baker, Francisco Morales, Hans Kraus, and Christopher Sanchez. And I think that with the Phillies getting Shohei, I think Bryce will be healthier, will play better. Nicholas Castellanos is having a great year. Schwarber is having a good power season. I think that they're going to be hot in the second half of the year. Number 11, the Toronto Blue Jays. I have them acquiring Jose Cisnero from the Detroit Tigers for righty Adrian Hernandez and righty Irv Carter. So 2 righties for Cisnero. Cisnero is having a decent year on the Tigers this year. Detroit cashes in. Number 10, the Cincinnati Reds. My bold prediction for them is that Ellie De La Cruz will challenge Corbin Carroll for National League Rookie of the Year. De La Cruz has been a lot of fun to watch. He's giving me Yasiel Puig vibes from 2013 and like how all of a sudden he's showing his character and everything. That might not be good for the Reds. But I love De La Cruz. He's so fun to watch. Number 9, the Boston Red Sox. I have them acquiring Julio Teheran from the Milwaukee Brewers for righty Luis Perez and lefty Dalton Rogers. So Milwaukee cashes in on the asset and Teheran, who's having a decent year for them. And then Boston needs help in their rotation with Sale out. So I can see them getting a guy having a good year. Number 8, the Arizona Diamondbacks. My bold prediction for them is that they will win the National League West. I think they go out and get Shane Bieber. They go with Zach Gallen in that rotation. Corbin Carroll's been amazing. They're having a lot of other guys having good years, like Christian Walker, among others. And the Dodgers have some pitching issues. And I can see the Diamondbacks winning the division. Number 7, the Miami Marlins. My bold prediction for them is that they'll finish with less than 85 wins. I just think that the Philadelphia Phillies are going to be hot in the second half. I think the Mets will perform better in the second half. And the Braves are the Braves. And the Marlins will finish in 4th in that division, like where they should have been all of this time. Number 6, the Texas Rangers. Or maybe they'll finish in 3rd. Maybe 3rd. Maybe the Mets don't pass them. But it's bold predictions, so let's go bold and say they finish in 4th. The Mets jump them. Maybe the Marlins finish with 83 wins and the Mets finish with 84. The Mets will maybe have a decent second half for them compared to the first half. Number 6, the Texas Rangers. My bold prediction for them is that Corey Seager will win the American League MVP. He did miss some time with injury, but this prediction is being based on Shohei Ohtani being traded to the National League. He has been so good for Texas. I think that he have more of a power second half to him this year. I think he can get over 30 home runs. He's been worth every dollar to that contract they gave him. And he's just a really, really fun player to watch. Number 5, the Houston Astros. I have them acquiring Lars Nootbaar from the St. Louis Cardinals for outfielder Quincy Hamilton and righty Michael Noor. Nootbaar gets out of St. Louis. Cardinals publicly said that they're being a seller. Nootbaar would be an upgrade for them in the outfield. There you go. Number 4, the Los Angeles Dodgers. I have them acquiring Willie Adames from the Milwaukee Brewers for shortstop Eddie Leonard, outfielder Damon Keith, and righty Kyle Hurt. Adames would be an upgrade for them at shortstop over what they currently have. And they give up some pieces to get him. Number 3, the Baltimore Orioles. My bold prediction for them is that they will win the American League East. I'm trying to be as bold as possible here, and this is based on, I think, Burns they acquire. He'll be an ace. Stroman be a good number 2 for them. And I think the new left field in Camden Yards will help guys like Stroman. And I think Adley Rutschman will make a push for AL MVP with Ohtani traded and Aaron Judge hurt. It'll be him and Corey Seager and maybe some other guys, maybe Arizona, maybe Julio. And then maybe if Judge comes back, we'll see. But with Judge out and Ohtani being potentially traded, I think that AL MVP is wide open. Being traded to the National League, that is, for Ohtani. So, Baltimore Orioles win the AL East. And that's me hoping for that future to cash in too. Number 2, the Tampa Bay Rays. My bold prediction for them is that they'll acquire Michael Lorenzen from the Detroit Tigers for righty Santiago Suarez, righty Evan Reifert, and righty Jose Ubrina. 3 righties going to Detroit in the deal. And Lorenzen's somebody that can help them in the rotation and even out of the bullpen at times too. I like Lorenzen, and the Rays have some pitching injuries, and I think Lorenzen is somebody that could work well in Tampa. And number 1, I mean, when are they not going to be number 1 unless somebody big time gets hurt? The Atlanta Braves. My bold prediction for them is that Ronald Acuna Jr. finishes with 45 home runs and 75 stolen bases. I know those are absurd numbers, but Acuna has just been a monster. He's finally living up to what the Braves have hoped and dreamed of him to be. And I think that Acuna is well on his way to the National League MVP award. All right, now we're going to do news and notes for today. The big news today in football. Quinnen Williams, contract extension with the Jets. 4 years, $96 million, $66 million guaranteed. Largest second contract ever for a defensive tackle, so he gets more than Dexter Lawrence from the Giants. So, good job by the Jets getting this done. And they finally end an epic streak, as no Jet player selected in the first round from 2012 to 2018 had signed second contracts with the team. So, good job at Quinnen Williams for ending that disgusting streak. Saquon Barkley is not eyeing a record deal, as he's not looking for a market-setting deal ahead of the deadline on Monday. And then the Post is reporting that Saquon's offer is too low, as they offered Barkley a deal that included $19.5 million guaranteed and less than $22.2 million if he'd make on the tag. Whew. This could get messy within the next couple days, and if he's not signed, he's going to be in trade rumors. And that is not going to be good for the New York Football Giants at all. And this just shows that the new front office with Joe Shane and everybody in there isn't Dave Gettleman. They don't live in the past, they live in the now. So we'll see what happens here. And I think that at gunpoint, I do think Saquon's returns, but not an outrageous Christian McCaffrey type of deal. There's reporting from the Boston Globe that friends of Bill Belichick believe that he could be on the hot seat this year. That's crazy, but at the same time, it's not crazy. The Patriots haven't been anything since Tom left. They made the playoffs once since Tom left, and that was 2 years ago with Mac Jones. And the irony is that they were alive in week 17 or week 18 this past year to make the postseason. And I think Bill's done a good job without Tom, amazingly enough. But, I mean, there's expectations for the Patriots. And it's just insane, but at the same time, it's not insane. It's been reported that the Heat are getting closer on a Dame trade, as Miami has 3 first-round picks along with Harrow to potential trade package. Portland wants 4 picks. And how about this? James Harden determined to join the Clippers, as his desire to get traded by the Sixers has not changed. So he wants to go to the Clippers. If you're Philly, you ask for Paul George back and some other stuff back. Or maybe it's a 3-way with Lillard going to Philly, Harden going to the Clippers, and then like Terrence Mann, Maxine picks going to Portland. We'll find out. So Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson both shut down in the Summer League. Obviously, Scoot's not surprising because of the injury. But now Brandon Miller is too. Paul Pierce, a bold take on the Heat, as he says that he doesn't think the Heat goes far in the playoffs with Dame. It's because he liked the Miami's team from last year better? Maybe. So that's an interesting take. Ben Simmons and Tyler Herro spotted working out together in the gym. That's weird. Darvin Ham calls out Michael Malone, the Nuggets coach, and says he isn't a fan of him being referred to as Lakers' daddy, so he calls out Mike Malone. The viral picture of LeBron's family and Bronny, his son, looked really proud watching LeBron speak at the ESPYs. The NBA approves an exception for Lonzo Ball. It's granted a 10.2 disabled player exception for the season-ending loss of Lonzo Ball, so we'll see how they use that. Some college basketball. NCAA tournament won't expand soon, as expansion of the 68-team field is not imminent, which is a good call. So a big recruiting effort for Petty Hardaway in Memphis. Quinterly, they get the former Alabama guard, Quinterly. So that is a pretty good get for them. College football, Northwestern elevates first-year defensive coordinator David Braun to interim head coach. So I did say that I thought that they were going to promote a coordinator. So how about this with college baseball news that came down a couple of hours ago? Northwestern fired its baseball coach, Jim Foster. Is he? So bullying allegations. What? Like, that's reported by Adam Ritterberger of ESPN. God, what a mess of a school right now, let alone a program. And the crazy thing is that he would have been likely fired earlier, but Northwestern's Legal and Human Resources departments were focused on Pat Fitzgerald's situation and the hazing investigation. So that is really crazy that this happened in the wake of just crazy. And a 5-star wide receiver commits to Miami, Josh Isa. That's his name. Josh Isa, Trader, number 3 ranked athlete in the class, picked Miami over Florida State, Georgia, and Ohio State. So that's pretty interesting. Some baseball news. The schedule came out. for 2024. Opening day is March 28th. That's a Thursday. All 30 teams will be in action. The league is coming to 4 different countries. We talked about the Dodger-Padre series on yesterday's show. And among the openers is Yankees at Astros. So an ALCS rematch from 2017, 2019, and 2022 on tap for opening day, maybe even 2023. Maybe that's what they're banking on. They're banking on that being the ALCS this year. So sometimes baseball likes to do in their scheduling and likes to put big teams against each other early, whether it's division or just like in-conference rivals, like how the Yankees and the Astros have become over the past half decade or so. Corbin Burns says that the Brewers are actually trying to win and won't trade its best players. So Corbin Burns says that, according to John Heyman. Let's see how they play down the stretch. Madison certainly doesn't think they're going to be buyers. Salvador Perez market quiet as he's not grabbing attention of other teams ahead of the deadline. That's weird. Oh, this is weird. I didn't see this, and this is what I predicted. The Dodgers are eyeing Lucas Giolito. That's weird. I didn't even see that, and I predicted that he was going to the Dodgers. That's weird. And how about this? The New York Yankees are seen as the most motivated team to land Shohei Ohtani in a trade. Whoo, baby. But I'm not buying it. Buster Olney, he's no Jeff Passan. He's not a terrible reporter, but he's no Jeff Passan. There's been times Buster's been right. There's been times Buster's been wrong. But the most infamous time Buster was wrong is that he guaranteed Jacob deGrom to the Braves at the start of last season, but he ended up going to the Texas Rangers. So that was Buster's biggest miss. So Ohtani to the Yankees will not be his biggest miss because the deGrom one was certainly a big miss from last year. So if the Yankees get Ohtani, that, I think, signals that Judge might not be coming back, and they're trying to replace his production for the season, or they want to sign him long-term, which I think either scenario they would, and maybe Judge comes back, and they're really going for it this year at Judge and Ohtani, and they obviously get the number 2 starter behind Garrett Cole and Ohtani too, so that's the case for New York getting him, but I don't think they're getting him. I predict Philadelphia. And in hockey, former Blackhawk and Ranger Patrick Kane not rushing, and he may wait until his injury heals. We'll see where he goes. I think it's going to be the Buffalo Sabres. It just makes a lot of sense for him to go back home and play there. Last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. There's some interesting spots on the board. Best bet for yesterday, one with the Rockets minus the points against Golden State. I think I'm going to stay in the Summer League for best bet. There's a couple that jumped out to me in terms of odds. And I really like the Jazz minus the 5.5 against the Suns. I'm going to lay a quarter of a unit on it. Jazz minus 5.5 against the Suns. I just think the Jazz have a better Summer League roster than the Suns, and they should win that game by more than 5 points. So there you have it for the show today. I'll be back on Monday recapping everything from the weekend and looking ahead to everything come Monday. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.